Take 18,000. So many. How do I look?
So many. You look good. You look good.
All right.
Is it all right?
You're good.
Good.
I look better than you?
Yeah.
You're the best.
Anything for you,
all
brother.
right. Do you want me to do the Hey Journey Church or? Give me a like a mouth exercise.
So like rolling the R's really helps out.
You know I can't do that.
Like
The brown cow jumped over the moon.
yeah, that one works too.
Brown cow.
Brown cow.
I should just
Brown
tell
cow.
us. All right.
All right, cool.
Hey Journey Church. All right.
Well, hang on. Let me give it a shot.
They'll edit it out.
Hey Journey Church, we're so excited that you are hanging out with us today for Church at Home. My name is Connor.
Hey, it's your friend Austin here.
We are a part of the student ministry team here at Journey Church.
We do our best to be.
I think that was good.
Yeah,
That's fine.
It's good.
All right, cool. Well, let's continue to roll through with it.
Roll through it.
All right, cool. Hey, take this link and share it with maybe a friend or a family member because we believe here at Journey that there is no better message than the message of Jesus.
Share that link because we want to be linked up with you during this time that I'm making puns that are going to be deleted.
That's good. No, it's good. I like it.
No, okay, but hey, we really do want to stay connected with you, so jump in the comments, and we actually have something easy to start the conversation. Whose outfit do you appreciate better?
Yeah.
Mine or Connor's?
Well, I kind of got this denim thing going on. You know what I mean?
It's like a 2008
Justin Timberlake vibe. You know.
It's good. Let's do the game we play in the office.
Okay, cool. Who wore it better?
Yeah, who wore it better?
All right, cool. Well, we have two people that we've been debating with recently about who wore it better. It's our very own Pastor Scott.
If you've been a part of Journey for more than 10 minutes, you will notice that Pastor Scott loves his black V-necks. So sometimes around the office, we like to call him Power V as he walks by. We also have another pastor on staff, Pastor Zach. He's the guy with the hair that goes whoosh, like he just
hard line.
ran
It's
really
awesome.
fast.
It's
really
actually a
windy
really
day.
awesome haircut. I wish I could do that.
That's good. But anyways, we like to play this game, Who Wore It Better? So Pastor Zach actually likes to wear a lot of floral. So we've got, we'll see if we can get some pictures to do the swirling and land on the screen.
Okay,
so go ahead and jump in the comments and let us know who wore it better. Pastor Zach's floral, it could be floral shoes, shirt, who knows? Any given day he's got floral anything.
Or
and then we've got Pastor Scott's V-neck. Yeah.
Which one do you think?
I'm more of like a V-neck just because he's so like dedicated to it. I feel like
That's
the
true.
floral
The
thing
dedication is honestly something to be admired.
Hey, but other than that, we really do want to stay connected to you during this time. So if you are a family and you've got students tuning in with you, watching the message, we want you to know that on our website and on Instagram, we have so many resources for you and your families to stay engaged and spiritually connected during this time. And actually, two of those that we have on our Instagram, we like to go live a lot. And so we've got two shows for you guys. We've got the morning show.
Now, before he continues to talk about this morning show, there's this morning show that he has that he likes to talk about. There's also this almost evening show that we do that's hosted by me. But anyways, I'll let you get back to that.
One of them's better than the other, and I'll let you guys decide. But hey, we really do want to stay connected with you, and we've got small groups for your students and for their friends on Zoom. We've got a Wednesday night live experience at 7 p.m. Where you'll find some of us and our friends bringing you a message and getting your students connected. And I don't know how to end, so.
Well, I don't think they really gave us anything to wrap up with, but I mean, we can try what Pastor Zach did last week.
Let's do the.
Do you want to do like?
No, you go for it.
All right, cool. We love you more than you know. I feel like
let's do our journey student.
Let's do the journey students. All right, count them everything.
All right, 1, 2, 3. God
Peace.
bless.
Love ya.
I thought it was God bless.
It's peace. God bless. You know the students.
Peace.
The student team nowadays. All right, we're good. All right, see you guys later.
Welcome to Church at Home. No matter where you are, we're going to sing Hallelujah to just praise Yahweh, praise the God who was and is to come. We lift a hallelujah no matter where we are. I raise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemies. Oh, I raise a hallelujah. It's louder than the earth believes. Oh, I raise a hallelujah. My weapon is a melody. Oh, so I'll sing. I raise a hallelujah. And we believe heaven comes to fight for me. Oh, I'm gonna say, in the middle of the storm, louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roaring up from the ashes. Hope will arise, and death is defeated, the King is alive. We sing, I raise a hallelujah with everything. I raise a hallelujah with everything inside of me. Oh, I raise a hallelujah. Declare this over your life, that I will watch the darkness leave. Oh, I raise a hallelujah right here and now. In the middle of this mystery, oh, I raise a hallelujah. Come on, declare. Now fear lost your hold on me. Oh, I'm gonna say, in the middle of the storm, louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roaring up from the ashes. Hope will arise, death is defeated, the King is alive. We sing a little louder now. It's just declaring in faith. Our God is bigger than our circumstances. We'll sing right in the middle of them. We sing it now. I'll sing a little louder. I'll sing a little louder. Yes, we'll sing a little louder. We'll sing a little louder. Oh, we sing a little louder. We'll sing a little louder. Yes, we do. Sing a little louder. We sing a little louder. We keep singing right now. Sing a little louder. In the presence of my enemy. Oh, we'll sing a little louder. Louder than the unbelief. Sing a little louder. My weapon is the melody. Oh, sing a little louder. Oh, heaven comes to fight for me. Sing a little louder. And I'm gonna say, in the middle of the storm, louder, louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar up from the ashes. Hope will arise, death is defeated, the King is alive. And I'm gonna say, in the middle of the storm, louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar We sing of a God who meets us right where we're at. Even when there's darkness, even when it feels like there's no hope, He brings light to us. He meets us there.
In the darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dirt.
We praise His name. Right where we stand, we praise.
Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise Him, Lord. To reveal the kingdom coming and to reconcile the lost, to redeem the whole creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering you saw to the other side, knowing this was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. We sing praises. In the morning like you rose, all of heaven held its breath, till that stone was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered
This is
death.
our hope.
And the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe, for the souls of all who come to the Father are restored. When the church of Christ was born, and the Spirit made the faith, and the gospel truth the Lord shall not leave, shall not fail. By His blood and in His name, in His freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has resurrected me. Oh, we sing well, oh, we sing well, we sing well. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Sing praise forever to the King of Kings. Oh, we worship you,
Wow, what an incredible time of worship that was. Isn't it amazing to know that Jesus, the King of Kings, He's still on the throne and He's still in control, even during this pandemic? Man, I am so excited that you joined us for Church at Home. My name is Josh, and I'm one of the pastors here at Journey. And in fact, I get to lead worship here occasionally, and I love the opportunity to do that. But I would love to hear from you in our comments section below. What are the worship songs that you've been jamming to? What's your set list been that's kept you hope-filled, encouraged? Drop a song in the comment below, and maybe you'll even see it appear on our set list next week. And hey, if you haven't yet, fill out our connection card. If you're new or newer here, or you just found us, we would love to connect with you, know how to pray for you, and you can do that by filling out the connection card. We don't want anyone feeling alone or isolated during this time. Just like, in fact, one of our local high schoolers in the area, she's a junior, and she just felt those feelings of isolation. But what was so cool, she stumbled upon Journey Church. She stumbled upon one of our online services and got connected to not only our Journey students programming, but also a small group where she's in there with her peers, getting loved on and encouraged. And now she's connected and seeing her life transformed. Church, and that's because of you. That's because of your generosity and your giving. And I just want to say thank you for doing that. If you want to partner with us and give, you can go to gojourneychurch.com/give. You can see our community transformed, like the 50,000 meals that you've given away already during this pandemic, and the countless other opportunities that we've had to go and love our community. Thank you for your support, and I encourage you to give. And with that said, we don't want anyone feeling alone or isolated during this time. I would love if today you signed up for a Journey Church small group. We would love to see you join a small group. You can get community, you can get people who love you and care for you, are asking the tough questions, are breathing some life into you, and that all happens in small groups. If you want to join, and this is the last day to join a small group during this season, we would love if you go to gojourneychurch.com/groups and get plugged in today. It will change your life, but you don't have to take my word for it. Check out this amazing life change video of a couple just like you who went through a small group and had their life transformed.
I'm Bruno.
And I'm Kathleen.
And Journey Groups changed our lives. We met at a restaurant that I used to work at, and I just looked at her and I fell in love with the smile.
Shortly after, we were engaged. And probably like 6 months after that, we were married. We were very different people, married but kind of separately.
Little we know, we were actually, as she said, growing further apart instead of going closer into that relationship.
We didn't know how to communicate like what we were expecting or what we wanted out of the relationship. So there was just like a lot of bitterness kind of growing in that, or maybe even resentfulness in there. One night I was trying to sleep and I just could not sleep. I was just having like in my head, having a rough time, and I decided to go to the beach and watch the sunrise. I don't know what it was, but I just like felt so emotional, and I was just like crying and praying, and something was just like telling me that I needed to go to church. And so I started Googling churches on my phone, and I found Journey that way.
Little I knew at that time, I was just about to be like hooked on Journey Church, and it was exactly everything that she told me.
Before we came to Journey, and when we first started attending, we were going through a lot of really tough seasons. We were battling infertility at the moment, so it was a very dark and lonely place for us. I just always wanted to be a mom so bad. That was, everybody has all these dreams and aspirations, and that was mine. I never had this job that I wanted so bad, or I wanted to be a wife and a mom. And so when that wasn't working for us, it was really hard. And it took a toll on me personally. It took a toll on us together.
We didn't know what to do on our own, because you know that it's a lie that the enemy is trying to put in your head, but you start to believe.
Yeah.
But we remember that the God we serve wouldn't do that to us.
When I had these things that I thought I was battling on my own, I realized that I never was alone, that God was there the entire time. Having community around me, it meant a lot, because I had people that I could reach out to and talk to and pray with about it. And then, when we did actually get the news that we were pregnant, like to be able to share that with them was really, really cool. We're sitting here thinking like, no, we're not gonna ever get the chance to be parents. And it was kind of when I shifted that perspective that I just had to have faith, and it wasn't a no, it was a not yet, is when, everything changed. In that moment when we had announced it, they rallied around us and stood behind us and put their hands on us and prayed for us, and it was really a powerful moment.
Well, the same way that other people poured that into us, we're now leading groups. We're sharing exactly what God did in our lives, and and hope that can change other people's lives, and hope that they can surrender the same way that we did.
The only difference is we're doing it on Zoom now as opposed to face-to-face.
Yep.
But we're just really thankful that with technology, we're able to still reach out and be around our friends in a time when most people are isolated. If you're thinking about signing up for a group, don't think, just do it. It can completely change your life, and it has for me.
We found ourselves, we found our marriage once again, and we found a great community and a place to serve and call home.
Well, I just want to start out by thanking the Gomez family for sharing their story. And it's just such a great reminder to us of how impactful and important our relationships are. And no matter what you're walking through, let me just tell you something. You can just get through so much more, overcome so many more obstacles, become so much greater when you have the right people in your life. So don't social isolate right now. Don't do that. Make sure you get engaged in an online group, whatever it takes to stay connected. And you can be a part of encouraging other people, and other people can be a part of encouraging you. So just make sure you do your part and are part of a group, an online group during this season. Now, I want to welcome all of you from living rooms all over our state, the world, from everywhere. We're just glad that you are watching. We're glad that you've tuned in to Journey Church this morning. And we are in a series where we're talking about how to overcome obstacles. Because one of the things that we know about life, one of the things that we understand about life is no matter who you are, is there's always obstacles in our way. And an obstacle is simply this. It's any barrier between where we are and where we want to be. And the one thing about life is it's filled with obstacles. It's just there. And so the heart of the series is, how do we get to that place where we overcome obstacles? We're not overcome by them. Because whatever you are or wherever you are, whatever stage of life, let me tell you something, we all have those obstacles. Some of those obstacles are relational, right? There's fights. We have different personality types. We have different spending habits. We say things that we shouldn't say. We don't always live up to the expectations that someone has in our lives and how it is that we live. And so we've got to overcome obstacles to have a good relationship. We've got to learn how, when things get in the way, how do we overcome them? We've got to overcome financial issues, like especially right now. We have to readjust how it is that we live and spend and save. And as we look off into our future, we realize there are some mountains, there are some hills that we need to move out of the way to get where we want to be in the financial realm. In the same way, some of our obstacles, listen to this, are personal. There are things inside of you that you don't want there. Because let's be honest, every one of us aren't who we one day want to be. And as we look forward into the future to be the man, to be the woman that we desire to be, that God wants us to be, there are things in the way. There are past hurts and hang-ups from other people's hurts. There's bad decisions that we have made that we now have to overcome. There's selfishness and pride and sadness and anxiety and fear. There's all of these things. There's these thoughts in our head that keep replaying over and over again that tell us we're not good enough and we never will be, right? And so when it comes to this world, all of us are going to face obstacles, and my heart is to give you guys the strength, because God has given us the tools and the weapons we need to, when we face an obstacle, we overcome them. We are not overcome by them. And so last week, we started looking at the first weapon in this series, and that's the weapon of faith. And as we think about faith so often, many times what takes place is we think of faith as simply an emotion. We think faith is simply this spiritual thing. And we don't understand what an unbelievably powerful weapon that faith in God actually can bring into any obstacle. That God himself, the scriptures declare that through faith we can actually move mountains. And part of the problem with our understanding as faith is that we have defined faith simply as this belief in God. But what you discover when it comes to the kind of powerful faith that we want to have, or that God wants us to have, is you learn that faith is not just the belief in God. In fact, look here what Hebrews defines faith in the scriptures. That without faith, it's impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists. That's the first part, but not the end. And that he rewards, that he steps into our situation, those who earnestly seek him. In other words, the faith that is so powerful, the faith that can move mountains, is the kind of faith that believes that when we serve a God faithfully and we seek a God, that God steps out of the heavens and he actually steps into our problems, into our obstacles, to give us strength, to bring back clients, to change the hearts of people, to remove things that are in our path, and to lead us to a better and more amazing future. That's the power of faith that we need to understand. That faith is inviting God's power into our problems. In fact, we defined it like this last week, that faith is not an emotion to help you feel better in a circumstance. That faith invites God's power into change your circumstance. And sometimes we need to realize, as we're walking through and we're looking at the mountains in our way, that God has a legion of angels that are fighting for us. That God himself can change the hearts of people. He can move mountains and do incredible things. And so the first thing we learned about how to overcome these obstacles in our life was to leverage faith, not just the belief in the existence of God, but the invitation to bring God into our lives. We're faithful to this God. We believe that this God is fighting for us. Now, today what I want to do is I want to talk about a specific obstacle that I think every one of us have walked through in different seasons of our life. And the obstacle I want to talk about today is simply this. How do we deal with discouragement and disappointment? Like you don't have to raise your hand, but you can kind of nod. Is there anyone here that's ever faced discouragement and disappointment? And the reality is, if you're breathing and you have a heartbeat, at somewhere in your life, you have been discouraged and you have been disappointed. Someone has let you down. Someone was supposed to be, but they did not. Circumstances you thought were gonna work out did not work out. And when you're discouraged and disappointed, it's amazing how it weakens us as people and oftentimes takes the fight out of our life. And some of you understand what it means to be discouraged. I mean, sometimes it can happen because you're trying to make positive change in your life and you're really working hard and you get 25 things right and you're just so proud of yourself and doing well, but what do the people around you notice? The one thing you didn't do right. And so they don't remember all the good. All they do is point out every time you haven't lived up to the expectation that they had in your life. And what happens when someone is critical of the one bad thing, but doesn't reward or praise us for all the good? It robs us of strength, doesn't it? It robs us of the power, and we get discouraged once again and disappointed. See, sometimes what happens is that you can work hard in life and unforeseen circumstances that have nothing to do with you, not your fault, step in and kind of mess up everything that you've worked for. Like even during this pandemic, I talked to certain business owners that had worked so hard to build their business and done really, really well. And outside of their power or ability, the world gets shut down and everything they built begins to fall down and they watch it crumbling before their eyes. What is that? That is discouraging. That is defeating. That is so difficult. Sometimes it can happen in marriage, right? And in marriage, you walk through, your spouse said they would change and you had this high hope and then you see them revert back to who they were, right? What are you, disappointed, discouraged? But do you know who right now is probably more disappointed and more discouraged than anyone else? And it's really simple. Patriot fans. I'm only smiling on the outside, just for the record right there, right? Yeah, talking about discouraging, disappointment, for you, the rest of us, we're great, right? But see, I don't care if it's missing prom, graduation, a boyfriend or girlfriend, lets you down, whatever it is. The one thing that we know, and I'm just gonna tell you this, is as you are on your journey in life, you can just hold on to the reality that along your path to being who you want to be and getting where you want to go, there are going to be seasons of discouragement and disappointment where people are gonna let you down, you're gonna let yourself down, or circumstances are going to let you down. Now, I say this because I experienced one of these moments in my life, and I learned something really valuable in this moment that helped me get the strength to overcome the obstacle of discouragement and disappointment. Now, for me, it happened on Good Friday. Now, I don't know about you, but Good Friday is a special day for me. It's the day that we kind of remember and celebrate Jesus dying on the cross for our sins. And we decided, I got this just I thought, great idea, hey, let's do a virtual communion with all of our church. Like, let's all get in our living rooms and we're gonna have this really great moment of worshiping and reflection and understanding communion, and we'll take the elements together, and it's gonna be an amazing thing right before Easter, and we're so excited about it. So I gathered all the team. I spent a long time researching and crafted what I felt to be a really good devotional. It was a great experience, and we just were so excited. I invited all of you guys to join us, and we had thousands of people live watching this whole thing event on YouTube, on Facebook. Everyone's coming on, and we're just kind of pumped about it. My wife actually got this silver tray, had all the elements and all fancy, like women do, and made it really nice. The kids were in the other room, and we were just so looking forward to the special time of celebrating communion together as a church. And so we sat down, we had the YouTube channel up on the TV, we had the Facebook on the computer, and we're ready to experience this event together. And then it starts. And as soon as it starts, we realize the sound isn't working right. And it was amazing because like all of a sudden the comments start flooding in, and it was like, no volume, can't hear, what's wrong? This is frustrating. This is disappointing. Hey, I can't get it to work. What's going on? And I'm watching these, it was lit up. Both of my screens filled up with everybody going, hey, we built our whole day around this. We followed in what you said to do, and now it's not working. And I remember in that moment just feeling so discouraged, so disappointed, because we had worked so hard. We thought we had everything, figured out, and we had worked so hard to make this right, and we had so many problems, by the way, before. A lot of people don't realize this. We have just had so many things not work out, so many things we thought were fixed, weren't fixed, and there was just an issue with our board, and a wire was done wrong that caused a lot of the stuff that was going on. But there I was in that moment, and I felt like a failure. Like, hey, everyone trusted me and gave up their Friday night, this park, to have this moment, and we didn't deliver. And then it even got worse than that. After it was over, I started getting text messages from friends, and they started to say things like, hey, my family is supposed to come over to watch Easter, but we're just curious, is yours gonna even work? And so there was we were confident people were losing this. We were trying so hard to figure it out, and we couldn't solve the problem. We couldn't resolve the issue. And I felt in some ways like a failure, like I should have led better. What is wrong? I'm trying to do the right thing, and I want you to see this. And on the path to do the right thing, there's all these things that aren't working out, and I was discouraged, and I was disappointed. And so what I did is what I always do on Good Friday. The kids went to sleep, and I started to watch The Passion of Christ. And I just think this is one of the most amazing things to do, by the way, as a routine for your family on Good Friday, is to really reflect on, to remember everything that Jesus has done. Except for what was interesting about this, and I want to look a little bit on discouragement and disappointment. What was interesting about this time is as I'm watching it through the lens of me going through this series of discouragement and disappointment. And when I watched it, it was fascinating, because I saw things that I hadn't noticed before. And I saw things, and God is so amazing. He just kind of spoke to me to lift me out, to give me the strength. And I want to share some of those things that I saw. Because what I want us to do is I want to look at Jesus' journey to the cross, but I want to look at it, not just the cross. Like, everyone knows that he sacrificed for us, and it was a painful experience, and he went through a lot. But a lot of people don't think about all of the discouragement, all of the disappointment he had to endure on the way to the cross. And by the way, eventually on the way to the throne, where he's elevated, the Savior of all, and elevated once again on the right hand of the Father. But what I want us to see is, and I want you to understand, is here is Jesus walking on this journey, doing the right thing. And yet even Jesus had to deal with people discouraging him and disappointing him in different circumstances. And so we start out the evening, right? And we start out the evening as Jesus is doing the communion with the disciples, the Last Supper as it's called. And he's gathered together with these 12 disciples. He is telling them that, okay, guys, this is my body that is, kind of broken. This is my blood that I'm gonna pour out for you. And I'm getting ready to die for you. And in that dinner, he gets betrayed by one of his best friends, Judas. Like think about this for a moment. Like, here you are, Jesus, you're doing the right thing. Okay, God, I'm being faithful. I'm loving everyone, working hard to honor you, honor my Father. I'm doing these things. And on the journey to the cross, not just the cross, he gets betrayed by a friend. By the way, ever have a friend betray you? How discouraging is that? How disappointing is that? But here's the good news. At least Jesus had 11 more friends there, right? Think about this. At least Jesus had 11 other people that were gonna be by his side to give him the strength he needed to overcome the obstacles to get to the cross and ultimately the throne. And so I wanna pick up the story is, I want you to just look at how much and how many times he had to deal with discouragement and disappointment, people letting him down on the way to the cross. So he gathers the 11 disciples left and he goes, guys, let's go to the Garden of Gethsemane. We're gonna pray to get ready to go fight this battle. And we pick it up, Matthew 26, verse 38. Then he said to them, his disciples, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Like I want us to understand the weight that he is carrying. He says, stay here and keep watch with me. And I think this is an important thing to process. That even Jesus wanted and needed and asked for help of friends to support him during a difficult time. This is why these groups are so important for you and for me. And then what he does, guys, will you go battle with me? Will you pray? Look at verse 39. So going a little farther, he fell on his face to the ground and he prayed, my Father, if it's possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. And I love God's heart, Jesus' heart, because he's there and going, okay, I've got this battle. I got this discouragement I'm dealing with. I got betrayed by a friend. I got rejected by my people. And here I am. God, I'm going to you to get some strength so I can overcome disappointment and get to the place you've called me to go. And you see him kind of willing his body. God, if there's any other way, great. But if not, listen, your will, God, we're going to do this. Like you could see him almost pumping himself up going, I'm ready to fight, God. We're going to go do this. And he gets up to ready to go be faithful to the calling. And then I want you to see the disappointment he deals with. Look at verse 40. Then he returned to his disciples, his friends, and he found them sleeping. They weren't battling with him. They weren't praying for him. They weren't there for him. And he says to them, couldn't you men keep watch with me for an hour? He asked Peter, watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation because the spirit is willing. In other words, God, you can do things that you think you're too weak to do, but the flesh is weak. And if I'm Jesus this moment, I'm like, God, come on. It's like, I'm being faithful, God. Like, I've surrendered my will and my life to a cross. I'm doing your will. And I first get rejected by my people. I get betrayed by one of my closest friends. And now my best friends that are left are sleeping when I told them I needed them more than anything else. Like this isn't just this moment where Jesus is like, hey guys, I need some help. He's like, no, my soul is like to the point of death. I'm barely hanging on and I need your support. And they slept instead. You want to talk about disappointment? You want to talk about discouragement? In fact, this is what's fascinating, is it seems like Jesus was ready to fight the battle, and then he goes to, and he sees his disciples, they let him down. He gets discouraged and disappointed again, so notice what he does. He goes back to the Father again to find the strength that he needs. By the way, that's something we always need to remember. Next slide, verse 42. So he went away a second time, and he prayed, my Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away from me unless I drink it, may your will be done. And look at verse 43. So when he came back, okay, I'm ready to go, God. I'm ready to fight again. But when he came back, he found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So notice what he does. So he left them again and he went away once more and he prayed the third time, saying the same thing. It's like Jesus is sitting there with the weight of the world on his shoulder and his friends keep letting him down. The people that followed him just, they abandoned him, and one of his closest friends betrayed him, and you could just see him. And the Bible says this, that the weight he was feeling at this moment was so heavy, he was sweating blood, which by the way is a medical condition that human beings experience only under the most extreme duress. And so there's Jesus trying to get to the cross, trying to be faithful to his calling. And it's disappointment after disappointment, discouragement after discouragement. And by the way, listen, if you think that Jesus doesn't understand what it means to be discouraged and betrayed, If you don't think he's felt what you felt in your life, can I tell you something? He has. He has experienced, as the scriptures say, he's been tempted in every way, just like you and me, only without sin. Jesus understands that, what it feels like when the people that are closest to you, the people that you counted on, let you down. And so here is Jesus, and you can see this, and I just love this. It's like he gets up to fight, he gets discouraged. Okay, I gotta run back to God. I gotta get some strength. I'm gonna go back to fight. Got discouraged again. Okay, God, I'm going back to you to get some strength. And then I love what he does next, because what he does next is what we need to bring into those battles of discouragement. Look at what he does in verse 45. It says, then Jesus returned to his disciples and he said to them, and I love this, are you still sleeping and resting? To which, yes, they were. But it didn't matter anymore. He was ready. And I love to see this attitude that he brings. He goes, look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. So rise, let's go. Here comes my betrayer. And what I love about this about Jesus, it's like he almost wills himself up. He's almost, if you will, kind of like a boxer getting ready to fight. You know, he's like, all right, rise up, guys, let's go. Hey, I've been disappointed. You've let me down. Judas betrayed me. Everyone has abandoned me. But you know what? I'm going to do this with God's help. We're gonna fight, we're gonna overcome this obstacle. Nothing's gonna get in our way. So let's rise, let's get up, and let's go ahead and let's fight to overcome this obstacle, to get through the cross all the way to the throne of God, to be the Savior of mankind. And you see him bring this attitude, this fight to his obstacles of disappointment and discouragement. In fact, there's this scene that I watched that night in The Passion I wanna show you. It's like 30 seconds. But it's so powerful because I love how Mel Gibson captures the essence of this Jesus with the weight, the discouragement, the disappointment, all of these things on his shoulders, and it shows the fight. We get a glimpse of it right here. And just so you know, the serpent represents Satan. And in the beginning of the scriptures, God foretold the events of the cross. And what he said was that the serpent, Satan, is going to bruise the heel of Jesus, his son. He's going to wound him. But that Jesus is going to crush the head of the serpent. And you get an idea right now of the weight that he's carrying. He hasn't been beaten yet. He's sweating blood. The weight of the world is on his shoulder, and yet he looks at it. This is like my favorite part of the entire Passion of Christ, because in this moment with everything on, he kind of gets the attitude, and here we have it, my favorite part. He crushes the head of the serpent. And what God was saying to me that day, or that evening, was something that I think is so important for us to understand when we get let down, when we let ourselves down, when circumstances don't work, and that's this, is that sometimes we need to add fight to our faith. That sometimes what happens is that we've got to, and I know it's hard, I'm not minimalizing it, right? Jesus was carrying a very heavy weight, but sometimes we just have to add a little bit of fight. We got to refuse to give up, and we've got to just pick ourselves up and go, you know what? I've been let down, I've been discouraged, things aren't what I wish they were. I face so many things that aren't fair, but I am not going to quit and give up. And we got to kind of stand up like Jesus did, and I love that imagery, just kind of stopping, saying, I'm not going to quit, and I'm going to add fight to my faith. In fact, you could say it like this, is sometimes to overcome obstacles, you need to add fight to your faith. Like, it's great to pray. And like we looked at last week, yes, faith can move mountains, and I understand that. And faith is so important because it is in part Jesus' faith, foreseeing and trusting in his Father and knowing what's gonna happen in the future that allowed him to endure the cross. But just because you have faith doesn't mean you don't have to fight. And I think too often as Christians, we look at life and we get this imagery of faith as, oh, the only thing I need to do to win is get on my knees and pray. No, that is a step. And yes, that's where you find the strength to fight. But all throughout the scriptures, you see that the people that truly overcome every obstacles are not ones that just have faith, but that faith actually moves them to fight through discouragement and disappointment. In fact, I love the scriptures in Hebrews 12, because it kind of is this encouragement to you and me. And what I love about this is it kind of blends this idea of there's this faith part of our journey to victory and overcoming, and there's this fight part, and it's not one or the other, it's both. And I love this because it kind of gives you Jesus as like an example of how to overcome disappointment and discouragement. It says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, right? Now, there's a lot of people that have had to overcome a lot of obstacles. Jesus and Joseph and David and Mary. Like there's so many people that are watching, looking down at us that didn't just have faith, but they were willing to fight. And he says, listen, because you're surrounded by these witnesses, let us, and I love this, let us strip off every weight that slows us down. And it's kind of like taking control. Imagine the boxer just ripping off his robe going, I'm ready to do this. And I love this. Especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us, and I love this, run with endurance. What is endurance? Endurance is I'm tired, but I'm gonna keep going. Endurance is I'm exhausted, but I'm not going to give up. The race that God has set before us. And I love verse 2. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, right? Remember what he did? He got up, kicked the snake in the head, right? But the champion, he found victory, who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy set before him, what is that? That's the faith. He saw the better future. He endured, which is what? It's the fight. He endured the cross, disregarding its shame. And I love the end result. Now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne. And I love the imagery. He's recounting Jesus' battle. And he goes, yeah, Jesus had faith, absolutely. But he also had to fight. He had to fight discouragement. He had to fight people betraying him. He had to fight every temptation that was known to man. He had to fight the crowds lying about him. He had to fight so many things. But he didn't just have faith, a belief in God. He added fight to it. And he was able to overcome all the obstacles. And then God elevated him to the name above every single name, to the right hand of the Father. Why? Because he added fight to his faith. Because there's no obstacle you cannot overcome when you add fight to faith. And then Hebrews turns it to you and me, and I want you to see what he says, what the scriptures encourage us to do. He goes, think of all the hostility he endured from sinful people. Think of all the people that let him down. All the people that said they were gonna be there and did not. All the people he loved, but they betrayed him. All the people he poured his life out for, but they didn't return or weren't even grateful. He goes, I want you to think, when you're in that moment and you're discouraged because people have let you down and you're discouraged and you are disappointed, think of Jesus and all the hostility he endured from sinful people. Then you won't become weary and give up. I love that picture, and I love that imagery. Hey guys, sometimes we need to get that image of Jesus in that garden that night. It's obstacle after obstacle, and just that idea of we got to stand up, we got to just take control, we got to seek God for the strength. Yes, we do, and we're going to talk about that next week. We're going to look at God as a refuge, a place, a person we need to go to get that strength. I get it, but there are moments we just got to fight. See, I would love to sit here and tell you that you could just faith your way into the future that you want. But I'm just telling you, when you look at the scriptures, the people that truly find victory, the people that overcome the obstacles that they face in their life are not people with simply faith. They're people that are willing to also put action and keep fighting through failure after failure, struggle after struggle, year after year, disappointment after disappointment. And those are the people that do it. And when you get to that point where, yes, you can run to God, do what Jesus did. He went back 3 times, like, I need more, great, right? But when you get to the point where you realize, I gotta be a fighter, and you add that fight to your faith, can I tell you something? There is no obstacle you cannot overcome. In fact, I love this last verse I wanna give us. If you're ever weary, if you're ever tired, if you ever find yourself in that moment where you just need some strength and some encouragement, I love this, Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good. In other words, think about this. Why does the scriptures tell us not to become weary in doing good? Simple. Because when you're doing the right thing, and you're working hard to honor God and change and make these changes in your life, and when you do the right thing and then something bad happens, what happens? We get weak. We get frustrated. We get so disappointed that we find ourselves in that moment. We're like, oh, I don't have any strength because it's not fair. And then I love what he says when we face opposition, when we face an enemy, when we face a struggle, and we want to quit because we're doing good and good things aren't happening. I love how he ends it. He goes, for at the proper time. It might not always be in the same season. It might not be tomorrow that you reap your reward. But for at the proper time, here's the faith. We will. See the faith part? Like you're seeing the end. You're seeing the victory of God. You're seeing that God can turn even evil things for good. You're seeing God that can move mountains, right? He goes, we will reap a harvest. And here's the fight part. If we don't give up. You see, faith is so powerful, it can move mountains. And I just gotta be honest with you, I have experienced things in my life where I have seen God move mountains that there's no way that a man could have ever done. I have watched him change the hearts of people. I have watched him change me. I have watched him defeat enemies. I have watched him work out business deals. Like I have seen God through faith do things I never could have done. But can I tell you something? Even in my own life, as I look at where I am right now, I realize that faith alone didn't get me here. That there was season after season where I was beaten up. I was worn out. I wanted to quit. In fact, there were times I was like, God, I'm done. But I never did. I never did. And I was willing to go, okay, God, I need to run to you for strength. Absolutely, I can't do this on my own. I am weak, but in my weakness, you're made strong. But here's what I'm gonna do, God. I am going to have to add some fight to my faith. Because sometimes, listen to this, before God can move the mountain that's in front of you through faith, you have to move the hills in front of you through your fight, through perseverance, through picking yourself up, through surrounding yourself with people that can be there to be your encouragement, to running back to God to get strength, whatever it takes to do it, because you cannot overcome the obstacles in life and be who you were created to be and experience the life that you have been called to experience if you don't add fight to your faith. Listen to this, some of you right now, you gotta add fight to your marriage. And I'm not talking about fighting with your spouse. I'm saying you gotta fight for your marriage, right? And you gotta fight what? Discouragement, disappointment. My wife and I, Raquel, every Wednesday, we're coming to you at 7 p.m. and we're giving 10, 15 minutes of just a little encouragement, a little bit of a challenge to help strengthen your marriage. But you know what some of you are gonna have to fight through? You're gonna have to fight through you wanting to do it, getting excited about it, and your spouse not. You're gonna have to fight saying, hey, let's do it, and then getting distracted and doing something else. You have to fight through, maybe you put forth the effort and you do what they ask you to do, right? But they don't do it. Or maybe they're gonna do it and then they're gonna revert back. And you know what you're gonna do? If you want to see God heal your marriage, yes, you should pray, you should have faith, believe. But if you don't add that fight, that perseverance, if you don't push through your failure and their failure, you're never gonna experience the marriage that God has for you. And so yes, God may want to move the mountain that's in your relationship and make it better and better and better. But you're still going to have to add some fight to that faith so that you can live and experience the family that God has for you. Some of you right now are battling enemies, and that enemy could be a person, a situation. And when I say you got to fight your enemies, I'm not meaning you fight them. I'm not meaning you revert to them and you lower yourself to their standard. No, what I'm saying is you might have to fight to forgive them. You might have to fight to pray for them. You might have to fight to let not what they say about you define who you are. And so you might have faith, that's awesome, but you're gonna have to add that fight to that faith to eventually defeat and overcome your enemy. Some of you have to fight to change, guys. And I know you're sitting here and you're looking at yourself, and there's part of you that wants to be more, wants to be better, wants to overcome these obstacles, but you just can't pray about it. You're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to say bye to some friends and say hello to some new friends. You're gonna have to maybe join a Zoom group. I know it's uncomfortable and it's different, I don't know, yeah. But you're gonna have to add that fight to surround yourself with the people that are positive, that are gonna help challenge you and encourage you to be everything that God created you to be. You're gonna have to be open, honest about some struggles in your life and stop letting this mask that's on the outside pretend everything's okay. And you're gonna have to fight to be vulnerable. You're gonna have to fight to get counseling. You're gonna have to fight to be who God created you to be. But when you add both faith, the belief that God can do it, and your fight, there's nothing that you can't overcome. Some of you have to fight for peace. Right? Some of you, Jesus says, I find my peace, I leave you. And it's not enough just to go, oh God, I just pray for peace. No, you're gonna have to battle for it. You're gonna have to take captive of your thoughts. We're actually doing something, a night of peace here. Should be out to you on Thursday night. We're gonna take you through an hour journey, and we're gonna read scriptures over you. We're gonna meditate on them. We're gonna do worship. We're gonna encourage you. And we're actually gonna give you a place, a refuge to run to God in his presence and experience peace. So some of you are gonna have to go through it 3 times. Some of you are gonna have to just keep going through it and keep going through it every night until you get there. But you need to understand that when you add fight to your faith, there is no obstacle that you can't overcome. And what I hope to understand and help you guys get with this, and what God showed me that night, is I'm not saying that obstacles aren't heavy and burdens aren't hard and these things aren't difficult. What I'm saying is you gotta be a fighter. I've been listening to this song, I love it, called Rattled by Elevation, and it just reminds me of that. It kind of gets me in like that boxing mode, if you will, where I'm going, God, I'm gonna fight for faith. I'm gonna do this, and I just wanna challenge you, you gotta do this. You can overcome and not be overcome by every single obstacle, but you're gonna have to stand up, almost like what Jesus did. Maybe in your living room right now. It could be weird, kids will think you're crazy. You need to stomp the proverbial Satan in the head, kind of like what Jesus did in that moment. Some of you need to just stand up. We're gonna kind of bring some faith right now and to fight our battles. And maybe you need to stand up and not care what anybody thinks. And you need to kind of worship and you need to sing. You need to just do what Jesus did, kind of will your body with that faith and the belief in God and who he is and what he can do. And just step back up and go, I'm not gonna let any broken person keep me from who I'm gonna be. I'm not gonna let any past failure define who I am. I'm not gonna let any unforeseen circumstance take me away from the plan that God has in my life. And I'm gonna have to pick myself up, God, and I might need your help, but I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna add fight to my faith, because I know when I add fight to my faith, there is no obstacle that I cannot overcome with your power and my perseverance. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you so much, God. I thank you so much that you are with us and you're for us, and that your power is there for us, God. And there are moments in our weariness and when we're tired, God, but you just give us the strength to pick ourselves up or to run back to you for a season to get the strength to pick ourselves up. And God, when we do that, God, give us the strength to begin to persevere, to begin to add fight to our faith. So on the other side, God, what we experience is the victory that you have. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how, come on, add some fight to your faith today. This is how I fight my battles. Hey. This is how I fight my battles. 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 Oh, this is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. Hey! It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. 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 This is how.
We hope that today inspired you, encouraged you as we met together for church at home.
Hey, we do want to stay connected to you during this time, so make sure you subscribe and get updates on all things Journey. And remember, today is the last day to sign up for a group, so make sure you don't miss out on that opportunity.
We'll see you next week, Journey.